Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Colleen. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I took Monday off for President's Day to watch the Olympics. So,
Nice.
yeah, it was great. We had a great time.
What were
We've
you
really
watching?
gotten,
Which sports?
okay, let me tell you, curling.
Oh yeah.
So, everyone in the world is like, every time curling comes on in the Olympics, it's like, what is this sport? Have you ever heard of the podcast Huge If True by Chloe Abrams?
No, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know the podcast.
Yeah, I think she's like one of the top 10 podcasters. She's like a bazillion followers. It's great to watch with your kids. It's science. So she did a whole episode about curling, and now we're super into curling. So we watch curling and we act like we know something about the sport. And we like get into it.
That's amazing. Did you also see the cheating and the finger push?
Yes, we saw that. So dramatic.
I didn't see it live, and I've only caught up on it from like the memes online, and it's ridiculous to catch up on pop culture that way because you only get the most ridiculous, outlandish things. Like I saw an AI video of the curler pushing the puck into a hockey net and being like, "Is this cheating?" It's just like that's how I found out about it. I'm like, what is this? So. Oh yeah, I need to watch more sports live instead of catching it on Twitter. So you watched some Olympics. What else was going on?
Watch some Olympics. That was pretty much it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yesterday we had off as well, and I took my oldest, who's 4, to my co-working space for like an hour to just like see what would happen almost. And I had him all set up with Duplos and Legos and a Etch-a-Sketch and headphones and a story and a snack. And I actually got like a good 45 minutes of working.
Not bad.
I know. I was like very impressed, and I was like, okay, if he's home from sick one day, like this might actually be viable for a little bit longer. And he loved it. He was like walking around the space. He was getting kombucha from the self-serve station. He was getting mints from the front desk. It was really sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
So work-wise, weekend's over. 4-day weekend. You're back. What's on your mind this week?
Okay, so last week I started my new contract job. And it is delightful to work with other people. I feel like I have been independent for so long. And typically when I come into a company, especially as a developer, which is what I usually do, you're kind of removed. Like you're a contractor. So you're either telling them what to do. So I usually had 2 situations in consulting. I came into a small business and kind of did fractional CTO work. So then you're in charge. There are no other engineers for you to talk to. You make all the decisions. And the client is completely dependent on you and your judgment. That's fine. And then I have the second situation, which I've done, where you kind of do staff augment. And then you come into a team, but you're kind of still a little bit, it's always felt like you're a little bit more removed. And so this contract job is awesome because it feels like I am part of the team. I've already had 2 meetings with 2 different people on the team, and they're really like kind of pulling me in. They're excited for me to be there. They're excited for me to build automations to make their lives easier. So all positive.
Nice. Yeah, that's a very different relationship and a very different dynamic than coming in as a CTO for hire, a strategist, or a staff aug, where it's like, oh, well, we're developers and like we're not enough, so this person's going to help. And instead, this person is coming in to help to make them be better and do better. And like, do all of the nasty stuff so they can just reap the benefits. Like a big thing when I was full-time with like not exploring new stuff was always, I don't want to dedicate the time to like futz around. Because what if nothing comes of it? But now you can do all of that and just tell them the good stuff.
Right.
And everyone wins. Like I love that, that just like that mentality of, I can't wait till Colleen's meeting because she's going to tell me all these exciting things, to help my work.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's kind of neat because literally my job is to make their job easier for every single person I'm working with. So that feels like such a win.
Yeah, I love that. And it's got to feel the same way for them too. Because if you're helping them at all, it's worth it.
Right. So
what have you been doing with them? Yeah, what have you been doing?
So right now I am still in the interview process. So I am interviewing different members of the team to see what kind of AI automations I can bring in. It looks like there will be some in the marketing space. So what's interesting about the marketing space is it has this really technical aspect to it. Whereas you're building integrations and you're building workflows. And so the marketing person called that marketing ops, which I didn't really know was its own thing, but that makes total sense. I'm not like a
Yeah.
real marketing person. So marketing ops, and then there's some stuff on the customer success side I think I'll be able to help with. And we're still figuring that out because one of the important things with this company is they do not want to be sending auto-generated emails to their customers. Like they very much believe in human customer support. So the question is, how do I come in as an AI tool and just make it a little bit easier? So I think what we're going to land on is I take the customer's information, I draft the message, and then the customer success person can, give it a check mark, can edit it before it goes out to the customer.
Yeah, I love that. Even the information that goes into that draft of like, who is this customer? What do we need to know about them? How long have they been with the company? How many times have they reached out in the past? Like, have they switched plans? Like, all of that stuff
Yes.
that is annoying to even build a dashboard for. If you can just pipe a bunch of data to an LLM and have like, summarize this customer for me, it makes those responses just so much more human because they have full context.
And I've noticed something, and this is true with my product. It's true with
Mhm.
everyone I've ever talked to about customer support. The first thing you do when you get a customer support email is verify that what the customer is telling you is true. So that usually, it's exactly what you just described. That usually means you have to go into your admin dashboard. You have to look up their account. If they say they were mischarged or, with Simple File Upload, they'll say this thing happened. So I have to go into the logs, like with Simple
Mhm.
File Upload, and be like, did this thing actually happen? Then you got to figure out why this thing happened. So that before you're even drafting an email, you have to gather context on the customer. So I think that's really exactly what you just said, where what systems I build will shine, where it'll be like, how do we get the relevant information on the customer? So when my customer support person gets in there, they already have all that context.
And they have all that context where they're already used to seeing it. Not,
Yes.
okay, go use this new tool that we just bought for a bunch of money. It's like, you can just build that into their dashboard that they're using already, or the reply button, or the draft of the email, and it's like a completely headless interface,
Yeah.
I love that you're getting in there and building something custom instead of just being like, okay, you should just use this off-the-shelf tool because it's great. You're building something
Yes.
that is going to only do what they exactly need, and that's big.
Exactly. Like it'll be in where they want to live. To your point,
Yeah,
they don't have to go to a third-party tool. I think we are all so tired of third-party tools. I
yeah.
also last week made my first YouTube video in like 7 months, which,
Hey.
by the way, I forgot how annoying it is to make a video. It's like, oh wow, this kind of sucks. Okay. So I did one on, so I use N8N to run a couple workflows. So I did one on, I canceled my N8N subscription and just moved to a Hetzner box. So I did a YouTube
Okay, I
video on
have to
that.
interrupt. What is N8N? Because I've seen it so many times and I don't know what it means, and now I'm afraid to ask, and it's gone too far. So, what is N8N?
Okay, so N8N is a no-code workflow automation builder. And it's okay, here's the truth, I think. It's just like Zapier, only it looks better. Like you can connect, so it's basically Zapier, but you can connect nodes, and they had a phenomenal marketing push. It was like, the really cool one for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not something that stands for something with 8 letters in the middle. It's just like a silly. They just got a good 3-letter domain, essentially.
Yeah, they got a good 3-letter domain. But
Okay.
what it does is it runs these marketing workflows. So it's like $25 a month. I think I was paying $24 a month. And I self-hosted on Hetzner, and now it's $5 a month. So that feels like a win.
Yeah, and you got to play around with Hetzner for the first time, right? And
Yeah, finally. People have been
yeah.
telling me to try Hetzner for forever, and it's not as scary as I thought it would be.
Okay. Are you doing? Is it a Rails app? Or are you doing like a Kamal
No,
type
it's
thing?
in Docker. So they N8N is free open source, and they give you the Docker image. So it's like a Docker and Caddy, and it really did not take long. I mean, it's really easy. They have the whole documentation page on how to do it. So it was pretty simple, honestly. And then you get the UI at your subdomain. So I own the domain marketingforcoders.com. So I now have workflows.marketingforcoders.com, and only I can log into it, but I can go there and log into my instance and run my workflows. So it feels the same as using their hosted version.
Wow, very cool. So they have a traditionally open source license. You can just not sell
resell it.
like one of those
Yeah.
things, like the
Yeah.
OSASI license or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I have never taken someone up on that. Like I've offered this is open source, self-host if you want, fork if you want, but I've never actually used someone else's before. It's cool to know that you have that working, and you could tweak it if you wanted to, I guess, right?
Yeah,
The code.
I think the real value, or I think the real reason I'm willing to do this is because it's a low stakes thing. Like I'm not gonna, do this for something that is mission critical, but should I forget to patch it, it doesn't really matter because it runs once a week and it'll just break. And I don't really care because all it does right now is summarize my meetings.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for $5 a month, that's a valuable tool. For $20 a month, it's like, maybe not.
Yeah. I actually am kind of happy. I'm kind of a little bit proud of my workflow because I am also doing this coaching, and what I built. So I was also able to get rid of my grain, one of those that I was paying for, whichever one. How everyone has their meeting recorders, and every time you get on a call, like 10 meeting recorders come in and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I had one of those, and all it was doing was recording, transcribing, and summarizing. So I made an N8N workflow that literally takes the Zoom recording, does like summarizes it, and it auto puts it in my Google Drive. So they just show up in my Google Drive. So it's really nice. That's what I'm going to do a video about this week. So it just shows up in my Google Drive, which is delightful. So I don't have to pay for Grain. I think it was Grain, whatever recording thing I was paying for before. So that's nice too, because then it enables me before I get on these coaching calls to have the summary, to have a quick recap, to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's really nice. I've done something similar where I use Zoom for everything, and I pay whatever their like pro thing is, because I always have to share recordings with clients and
people.
Stuff after the fact, and it's like, I'm not going to send you a 500 megabyte email, video over email, so I have Zoom host it, so I give them the link, which is much easier.
Yes.
But I have to keep those available for like 3 to 6 months sometimes because clients are lazy and they don't check it right away. But now Zoom does like the auto summarizing and transcripting and stuff, and they send you an email within like 5 minutes of finishing the call.
Yeah.
What I really like about it though is that you don't have a little extra person in the room.
It's like that too.
It's just like Zoom. I think when someone pops in, it says, "Hey, this meeting is being recorded." Of course.
Yes.
And then the Zoom AI will summarize that for me. And what I've had a lot of success with is when I host my monthly office hours for paid newsletter subscribers.
Yeah.
I can change the type of meeting in Zoom to Q&A. And I actually get a format that's like, this person asked this question, and here is the response to it. And then this person asked this question. And I can take that and turn it into a blog post in like a few minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
Like all I have to, I can see the whole outline of what happened, pick out the 2 or 3 questions that are relevant, and then write what I want to write about it. But it's formatted so nice that I just can scan it really quick.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've come around to, if I'm going to pay for Zoom, I'm going to use Zoom's features.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer. I think too, I've been thinking about this as I've been doing calls. People know they're being recorded, but they know it a lot more when you have a huge thing in there that's like, Colleen's Fireflies note taker is in the call.
Yeah.
And I think people are more comfortable when they don't have, this is just personal opinion. Like, I think they're a little more comfortable when they don't have, all these listeners. Like, they're creepy, right? You're like, oh my gosh.
It's also very different when there's 2 people in a call and 1 recorder versus 10 people on a call and a recorder or 2. They kind of get buried because their video is off. But it's just, if it's, quote, 3 people and one of them is a bot, it's like very obvious what's going on.
Yeah. And so much of these calls, especially if they're sales calls or customer discovery calls, you want the person to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You want them to kind of just be casual and comfortable. And I think that having a big recorder in your call can detract from that.
Yeah, having them guarded where you're trying to help them is like going to therapy with your mom sitting in the room. Like, you're not going to say what you want to say. It's like, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to sugarcoat everything. So I'm with you there. I like that a lot.
And then the other thing I did last week is I met with a friend who has recently rebuilt his consultancy, a very similar situation to what I am doing this year. And he's had a very quick trajectory of hitting high numbers. And so I met with him, and he was telling me about this coach that he uses. And this like a typical coach, they have a lot of resources for free. So I've started looking at some of his resources. But the thing I keep coming back to, Joe, is
Mhm.
no matter whether you're selling coaching, you're selling a SaaS, it doesn't matter what you are selling. You have to know who you are selling to.
Yeah.
And this is what, and maybe again, I think we had talked about like this Q1, I'm just trying to figure this out, right? Like I don't have to have an answer today in February, but I think something I had talked to you about is like I want to be able to sell bigger deals for this AI automations. But also most of the people I know are running software businesses in the 500K to 3 million range. So I think for now, as like a soft ICP in terms of like creating content and who I'm targeting, that's going to be my soft ICP. Like SaaS founders doing 500K to 3 million ARR.
I don't see why you would pick anything else. That's what you know has worked. That's what you
Right.
know the most about. You have something defined, keep those guardrails up and exploit it. Like, I think that makes
Yeah.
a ton of sense.
Work within
And those are good numbers to get good client engagements. Like, you're not targeting folks that are doing, 10K a month or whatever, right? 5K a month, where it's like if they have to pay you, it's their entire revenue stream.
entire revenue stream.
um, and it sounds like you're also doing profitable businesses, which is very different than seeded or funded even. And that comes with, being maybe a little more money conscious. So maybe you're offering appeals to them a little bit more. Maybe they have less money to spend, but they are more likely to hire you.
Yeah.
And I would take a, smaller client over no client any day of the week right now.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And
mhm,
so when I think about creating LinkedIn content specifically, I'm going to try and just keep that in the back of my mind. Like what do these people
yeah.
really need and how can I meet them where they are?
Is it LinkedIn? Is that where they are?
I think they're on LinkedIn. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
LinkedIn has worked really well for me.
it
Um
has.
we do need to say something about cold outbound, but I'll wait till you go because I have some thoughts that I wanted
Okay,
to make sure I share about
please.
cold outbound. And the other thing I wanted to say about my week last week is I think I'm going to rebrand, and by rebrand, this
Hmm.
is going to change every week. But I like the sound of like fractional head of AI. How does that sound?
Ooh,
Does that sound cool?
yeah.
A little bit cool?
I I like that.
No?
I like that,
Okay.
especially because it's exactly what you're selling, and you're coming in
Right.
and you're figuring it out, and they don't need a full-time head of AI, maybe now, maybe ever, but you're coming in and you're helping them get it figured out, and they can like feel good about not falling behind.
I think that's part of it. Something else I've noticed as I've started working with people and implementing solutions is the developers want to do all the things themselves. But if
Yeah,
they're running businesses, they don't have time to do all the things themselves.
yeah,
And there is this existential fear about falling behind.
yeah. And if you can plug that gap and just make sure that they are not falling behind, or at least not feel like they're falling
Not feel
behind,
right.
that is worth it for sure. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that.
Yeah, so I haven't updated my LinkedIn yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do is kind of just try that out for size and see if it works and
Hmm.
see if people are interested in that as kind of the positioning for the consulting I'm going to be doing.
And as soon as you're maybe 3, 4 more weeks in to this engagement that you have,
Yeah.
having a testimonial or a white paper on that will be so big,
Yes. Yes.
because you can
Yes.
get one from the person who hired you, you can get one from the developers that you helped, and it doesn't have to say the company name. It could be like
Right.
lead developer or whatever, and telling everyone how much Colleen helped them catch up or figure it out. Like all that stuff will be really helpful.
Yeah, speaking to my friend who's doing very well with his consultancy, he was like, he did the thing he consulting with for 14 years at a paid job. So it is a little bit different than my situation, but no one has done AI integrations for 14 years because it hasn't been around that
Yeah.
long. So I think I'm fortunate in that I'm in a position where the field is open. Like the field is open because this is all new. He
Yeah.
did say like his coach always you need to start with 3 really strong recommendations.
Hmm.
So that's just like context with this company I'm with. Like I need to do 3 things, at least 1, but hopefully, eventually 3 like really strong things that show ROI on business value.
Yeah. Let's drop a link to that person, those free resources in the show notes for this week, because I would love to catch up on that too. Having those
Yeah.
that's already a great tip that like I don't have, I don't
Yeah.
think, or at least I
And to
have, but
be
I
fair,
haven't shown.
yeah, and I haven't hired this guy to be my coach. This is just this free So it's
Great.
just, you know,
Even better.
even better.
Or,
Okay, so before we move on, I do have a
yeah.
funny story about YouTube Shorts. So it turns out my 12-year-old watches more YouTube than I do, which is probably not a surprise to anyone. And so I did my first YouTube yesterday or last week and cut the shorts, and he was like, "Mom, these shorts are so boring." So he then proceeded to write me a script
No.
so I could do better shorts, which I appreciated. I thought that was quite nice.
So your 12-year-old's doing your job for you right now,
That's
writing
right.
your
So I've officially
shorts.
hired my 12-year-old for the tax
There we
savings.
go.
Right?
Double allowance this week for
That's right.
writing
I
a
was like, I'll
short.
pay you $1 a script. That's what I told him. It's like, I'll pay you $1 a script.
There you go.
But just like, because I don't do YouTube, so there is a
Yeah.
temptation to stop and take a bunch of courses on it. Just like there is
Mm.
whenever you want to do something, right? You want to start a business, you're tempted to read 100 books before you start doing something. But what I have learned about doing things is it's better to just do the things.
Mm.
And the momentum will compound and build. So I'm not saying I'm going to do a certain amount of anything, but the more you do things, the better you get at them. But there are like some funny things. Like I did a YouTube video and then I cut shorts using one of those tools, right? There's thousands of those tools, but that doesn't work because when you cut a short from a longer video, like it's not a complete thought. And then the other thing I didn't know is the short doesn't link to your video automatically. So it's
Huh.
like, so
Wow.
I don't know what I'm doing out here was the takeaway, but yeah, my son told me that. I was like, it doesn't matter, it's not a complete thought. They can click through the video. And he's like, Mom, you can't click through the video. I was like, why
Yeah.
not? He was like, because you didn't add the link. And I was like,
Oh my
"What?"
God.
It's amazing, Joe.
YouTube
Solid.
YouTube feels very much like this. I don't know what I'm doing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm browsing YouTube, I don't know what I'm doing.
Like, what
To be
is
honest.
this?
Like if I go to a video, the first thing I want to do is look at the comments. And
Really?
no, I feel like the YouTube interface changes where there's like 70 recommended videos below the video to get to the comments sometimes. You ever notice that?
Yes, I have
Or
noticed
the
that.
comments are buried
Yes.
in like under the description and you have to click show more.
Yes.
So I never
have
know how to
noticed
use YouTube. I feel
Neither.
old man yells at cloud all the time with YouTube. And it's interesting because this podcast is listened to the most on YouTube right now.
I know.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to get better at YouTube also.
I think
We should hire your son. That's what we should do.
I know. Hire the 12-year-old. I
Yeah.
think the value isn't in, like, I'm not really trying to grow a YouTube channel. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to do any of that. But the value, I think, is just having your face.
Mhm.
Again, as we've talked about with the rise of AI generated content, even writing words. So I'm big on LinkedIn. Like, I think that is the place to be for B2B. But now you just don't know. You don't know,
Yeah.
like, what is real and what's not. So my thought is, even if, like, my short isn't super valuable, or you don't watch my whole video, just seeing my talking head, knowing that Colleen wrote these actual words and took the time to make a video about it, gives me, a little more authority on the subject. And I didn't just throw some slop into Claude.
Yeah, I totally agree. Why I'm very excited to have, my voice in so many folks' ears and face on their eyes. I don't know what the right analogy is with YouTube, but oh my God, I was scrolling, or I wrote a little, what is it called? Like a Twitter article the other day,
Mhm.
and it was
Yeah.
AI adjacent, and it probably got 30 replies. And a lot
Wow.
of folks outside of my network replied to it.
Okay.
And it takes so much mental energy to figure out, should I interact with this? Because I don't want to it look like I'm interacting with a bot.
Yes.
And it's like, I have to click through to their profile. I have to see their recent tweets. I have to look at their replies. And it's like, I'm putting so much effort in to figure out if I should click the heart button or not.
Right.
It's absurd. And forget the point that like what people are replying is not actually useful, which should just be the barometer. But I feel like this is someone replying to something that I wrote and they're real. I want to give them,
Right.
the benefit of the doubt and interact back with them and show that I read it at least. But it is harder and harder to determine that. I swear.
It's hard to tell. Yeah. And I mean, it's almost impossible to tell sometimes. And
Yeah,
that sucks.
it really is.
Like,
It's not going to get
it
easier.
is just, it's not going to get easier, right? Because the AI is just getting better.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my little YouTube story. But this week,
Mhm.
I am going to continue to do my paid work, and hopefully I've had my meetings. So hopefully this week I start, integrating and building things and shipping things for them.
Cool.
And so I'm going to do another YouTube video this week. And what else am I going to do this week? I feel like I had one more thing. Coaching. I'm still doing the coaching.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I love the coaching, by the way. That's
Good.
been super fun.
Good.
I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying that. And yeah, I think that's going to be my week.
Alrighty. That's I mean, YouTube could take up the next 4 days, so
Dude.
that's plenty of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, just like I hopefully I get faster, better, whatever. But it's fun
Yeah.
because I have all these, like many people, right? You're scrolling Twitter or you're
Mhm.
online and you see all these people like, I did this crazy workflow, and you're like, I should do that. But you never actually make the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I like this is in my head. This isn't like a full series I'm doing yet because we'll see how it goes, but like replacing all my SaaS subscriptions with my own stuff. Like I like that as a hook.
I love
And
it.
it's also true because I'm so sick of all my SaaS subscriptions.
Yeah. I love that. That's really cool.
So yeah, I think that's gonna be my whole thing.
Nice. I
Yeah.
I'm interested in that just to hear how that goes because I feel like the building of the SaaS and the launching of the SaaS competitor, whatever you want to call it, rolling your own is so easy now.
So easy.
And I feel like no one has followed up on okay, this is actually how hard it is to maintain, or this is actually
Right.
how much of a pain in the butt it is to have my own. And when I do want to add a feature, like worrying about things and stuff, and I'm curious to have someone be honest about that in the
Yeah.
space instead of just being like, I launched 30 SaaSes in 5 weeks and here's how amazing I am. I want to see
Ye
like I've ran 4 for the past 4 weeks
Here's
and
what
these 2 are
actually
not viable because of all of these reasons.
Yeah. I mean, I have a perfect example is like, for example, this is another thing about the internet. Like, if you Google like Zoom auto summaries to Google Drive and N8N, you'll see all these videos that are like, oh, we can take it, N8N, the workflow builder, can build you this workflow. But it can't because it can't sign webhooks. And Zoom will only like work with you
Hmm.
if you have a signed webhook. So there's like little stuff that like
Yeah.
I feel like people are not being honest about.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one, like, they're going to publish that video. Let's say they get 100,000 views. 100 of those people are actually going to do the thing to the
Right.
end,
Almost no one's
full
going
on.
to do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
People
No
don't
one's
actually
actually going
want
to
to
do
do
it.
it.
It's just content.
So
And
that was like the first thing I learned is I was like, oh, this is a lie because I can't sign webhooks with N8N. Okay, cool.
great. Well, you didn't set it up to send it to a signed webhook thing and then redirect it back around the
Redirect,
back end and
right?
roll your
Like,
own server to change the headers. And it's like, oh, now I have my own
yeah.
service.
Yeah.
But
That's actually where it ended up, but that's for
of
next
course,
week.
yeah.
We'll talk about that next week. Okay, so that's my week. Last
Cool.
week, I am having great energy.
Nice.
I have another great week. So,
All right.
what about you? Let's
Keep
talk about
trucking.
your stuff.
Yeah. So last week, some boring stuff, did some taxes, printed
my
some
gosh, taxes.
invoices, that kind of stuff. But I did send 2 contracts out
Excellent.
to potential, hopefully they will sign, next week or the week after, and they're not small. So that's looking good. That's
Excellent.
looking up. Obviously, nothing is set in stone, not counting my chicks before they hatch or anything, but like it feels good to actually send proposals or contracts out, like past the proposal stage. So I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
feeling good about that.
Okay.
I wrote a really in-depth article comparing all of the mobile app frameworks for Rails businesses and comparing and contrasting them, which we talked about last week as a big lead gen tool for me. So I'm comparing React Native with Hotwire Native, with Capacitor, with Flutter, with going fully native. And the idea being that it is not a newsletter post where I'm like, here's all the stuff. It's just like a chart. And then the chart is explained in 1,000 words beneath it of like, here's the best choice if you want this or if you have that. And the idea is that it's to target CTOs to find me and be like, oh, okay, here's all my options. And then at the end, it's like, the CTA, hire Joe to help you make this decision for real. And it hasn't gotten much traction, but I did just check Fathom Analytics before this, and it is starting to see some, even like search results it's showing up in, which is wild because it's only been out since last week. So
Google search results, AI search results?
Google search results. Yeah.
And it's on your blog. It's on your website.
Mm-hmm.
And are you doing anything to intentionally drive traffic to it? Are you running ads or anything to it?
I didn't think about ads. I will think about running ads to it. Yeah. I'm not running ads. I tweeted. I think I may have done a tweet about it, but I definitely talked about it on LinkedIn. Like I did a social promotion for it.
Okay.
And then I have a Substack post coming out, I think tomorrow or the next day, that is more of a personal take on it. And then I link to it a couple times in that personal take. Like I've done apps, I've built 25 mobile apps, and here's all the things I learned. Well, here's how I compare frameworks, and like it links to that. So that'll get some backlinks and stuff. And I also submitted it directly to Google's indexing right away, like their search console. What is next are like the next level promotion of it, like going on Reddit and talking about it, going on even like Hacker News.
Hacker News.
I want to do like a LinkedIn article. I might just republish it on LinkedIn as an article or something. Things like that, because like I don't care if they get to my website. I want them to see the content. So it's a very different approach of like, I want eyeballs on Maserati.com. I just want people to know my name and to think of me when they think about mobile apps. So different
Right.
strategy
So
than like before.
this is a piece that you don't need tremendously high volume. You just need to
No.
get it in front of the right people.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good way to think about it. And that is LinkedIn. That is replying to being like a reply guy for a little rounds.
Yes.
So this is going to be one of those times where like, maybe I'll be a reply guy for a little bit and like, I'm looking online and saying, if someone's talking about mobile frameworks or Rails businesses and mobile apps, it's like, oh, here's a comparison that I wrote, and just like dropping that in. But it feels good to have this content built because linking back to it is going to be so important for me. And it kind of becomes my flagship article. And when I have the I have a pinned article on Substack, which takes up like a third of the page at the top of my newsletter. And pinning this new one as like how to decide really helps, I think, with my repositioning from Hotwire Native to mobile apps. So I'm excited for the leverage that this article will pull in the future.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that will be such great lead gen. I think of that and my marketing brain makes me want to tell you to put it in a funnel and email gate it and stuff. But I do not think that's the right choice because to what we just said a second ago, it's not the number of people, right? We're not trying to do top of funnel. We need 20,000 people in the funnel. It's the very specific niche targeting of people.
Yeah. If I have 100 eyeballs on that are CTOs at Rails businesses, 5 of those people will reach out. I'll probably land a deal or two with one of them. And that's the type of numbers I'm looking at. So advertising sounds really good because I could probably spend $5 to $10 a click, right? And get really good results on that. And I don't know what type of competitors there are in that space. So yeah, I'm excited to start leveraging that a little bit more this week.
And it might be interesting to look at LinkedIn ads instead of Google ads.
Yeah,
because I think your CTOs are on LinkedIn. I haven't run LinkedIn ads, so I can't speak to them. I'll ask some of my friends who have run them. I don't know how effective they are, but if you could highly target, I mean, I know on Sales Navigator, you can highly target like CTO of this size business. So I assume their ad platform allows you to do the same.
Yeah, I'll check that out, especially because I have to write either the post again on LinkedIn or write a version of it and link to it on LinkedIn. So I'll be in there anyway.
Okay. That's great. Hey,
yes.
Congrats on getting that done. That was a huge
it was
thing.
Okay, so I think this is interesting. My writing process with AI has changed dramatically. I used to write I used to do outline, first draft, edit, not look at it for like a week, come back, edit again, and then publish. That was like my flow for these long 1,000 to 10,000 word articles, which is what this is. Now my flow is over the course of like 2 weeks, word vomit into a document somewhere. Like bullet points, just everything that I can possibly think of about this particular topic, have a list of like 100 bullets at the end of 2 weeks until I feel like there is enough content in there. Then throw that whole thing into Claude and be like, can you come up with an outline on this? And that process to then go into first draft writing has been so effective for me because I get all of the thoughts that I want to think about I'm doing it over like kind of like in the background for 2 weeks and not
Mhm.
just like, okay, I have to write now and sitting down. And then when I have the outline, I am writing the article in my voice to begin with. I'm not like, Claude, write me a first draft. Okay, I don't use that terminology. I would never say that. Like, please fix this up. It's like, it is my words because I am writing the first draft. And I found it to be A, more effective, and B, so much more enjoyable than like trying to slog through writing articles.
Tell me more about your word vomiting. Like,
Yeah.
actually, are you out on a walk? Do you pull up a voice note? Like, I'm super curious how that works.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's a combination of an empty text edit file that I'm
Okay.
like, oh, I have an idea. Let me open a text edit file and jot down like 5 or 6 bullet points and then just like save that somewhere.
This would be
I'm out
while
on a
you're at work. Like, you're at your computer,
yeah,
you just have a thought. Okay.
I have a thought. Just write it down. I always have text edit kind of open. I have text edit set to only do uh, fixed width font that's huge and plain text, so not rich text, which means
Okay.
that the interface is super simple. It's like just text, and I really like
Okay.
that. Um, I have, double click my AirPod when I'm out on a walk, start a voice memo, and then just like talk into a voice memo on my phone. And I'm using like all the built-in stuff from Apple there. There's no third party anything, because when I get home, that voice memo syncs with my Mac, and then I can click the transcribe button, copy and paste that transcription into that same text edit. So I'm getting everything in just like a plain old text file. And then that works really well plugging that into Claude because it is hundreds, if not thousands of words on a topic that have no correlation to each other in terms of order. And Claude can look at it because it's one text file and just be like, oh yeah, cool. Here's an outline that makes sense.
Nice.
I
That's
really like
great that
it.
that's working for you. I like that
Yeah.
process. I sometimes have a similar process when I'm doing like app design, which is that like I do it first
Mm,
before I mean, you're talking about writing, I'm talking about app design, but conceptually coming into the AI with your own thoughts makes a big difference in the quality of the output.
100% agree there. Coming to AI and saying like, I'm thinking of an article about this, like let's brainstorm ideas. I feel like is always weak.
Mhm.
It just never, it's generic. It never has my voice. I rarely publish, if ever, those articles, or if I ever do, like I have once, I didn't feel good about it. These articles feel like things that I would write, and maybe it took me less time, maybe it took me more time, but I definitely noticed that it's more enjoyable. And
Yeah.
for me with writing, like it's all about sustainability. It has to be this is novel to me right now, so it's exciting. I might go back to pen and paper in a few weeks because that is novel to me. But right now, like this is great, and I'm knocking out my weekly articles without much mental effort, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, so that feels good. I did obviously like some, my couple of clients that I'm working with right now. I have a maintenance contract, which is going really well. I just revamped their entire iOS and Android app to get them to automate their builds, so that's really easy for them. Um, Next week, or this week I should say, is exciting one because I have to write my monthly deep dive for my newsletter subscribers. So every
Ooh.
month I do a 10,000 plus word article on a mobile app or Hotwire native topic, and I'm kind of running out of time in February already, so I want to do that this week. And those are always tough because they require like a very in-depth topic because I have to write a lot about them to make it worth it for the paid subscribers. And I have a lot of ideas this week, and I think that the hardest part is going to be figuring out which of those ideas to actually write about instead of writing 5 short articles. It's like let's just like blow up one of them and go as deep as I possibly can.
Nice. That's awesome. So that's
Yeah,
this week you're going to do that.
that's this week. I have a Ruby meetup tomorrow night in
Oh,
Portland.
fun. In Portland?
Yeah, which I
That's
haven't
fun.
been to one of those in a long time. Looking forward to that. The Pacific Northwest Ruby, so it's like Seattle and Portland are doing a joint one tomorrow night at a brewery, which will be just nice to meet people and talk in person, and some local Ruby devs is always fun.
And what about one of the things we talked about last week was cold outbound.
Yeah. So
Don't sound too excited, Joe.
I sent 3 cold emails last week.
Okay.
And I found 3 businesses that are running Rails and don't have apps in the App Store.
Okay.
And one of them has an Android app already, so that was actually really perfect, and is hiring an Android developer. So I was like, oh my God, perfect.
That's perfect.
One of them, and then the other 2 just like don't have an App Store presence at all. The 2 that don't have App Store presence didn't respond at all, which I don't know. I should expect that. I might follow up. I might wait like a month and then follow up. I haven't decided yet. And then the one that has the Android app responded and was like, yeah, we have an Android app and we have no need to go to iPhone, so we're good. Thanks. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I'd rather see that than, be ghosted and whatever. I tried a little bit. It didn't work, but I have, I think, 5 or 6 more qualified leads that I've kind of found through some research, which I'm going to start doing maybe later this week or early next week.
Okay.
And it's all been email. So next up, I think, is trying LinkedIn messaging.
Yes. So one of the things, my PSA to you and to our listeners, is there is all of this stuff going around the Twitterverse right now. That's how to personalized outbound at scale. Have you seen any of this?
No,
So
I haven't.
people are using, here's what people are doing. They're using OpenClaw to basically search, if you have any kind of public presence, so you have a newsletter, you have a podcast, you have a YouTube channel, to scrape all of your content, pull out some very specific detail about your content, and send you a cold email. If you are doing this, this is literally the worst, and we can tell immediately. So I have been getting a deluge of these messages that say, hey, Colleen, I thought this XYZ thing you said on this podcast was so insightful. Like, no, I immediately know that's AI. So I just I'm sure you're doing a good job, but just to remind you and everyone else, when you're doing cold outbound, this personalized at scale BS, it is a red flag immediately. It's all about the offer, right? Like you have to hit them at the right time with the right offer to get them to respond.
I think that what I would love to do is write an email live with you.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Like pick a company, do a little bit of research, write that email. Because I feel like a lot of cold outreach for me is, it makes sense when I talk about it in the abstract. And then I get down to actually doing it. And every time my email feels like too short or too long or too stilted or too salesy. And to have an expert come in and like do that with me could be interesting for the listener, of course, but also I'd be interested in it myself.
Yeah. You just have to hit them with the right offer that they need at the right time. Right. And all that other BS that you hear about on LinkedIn or Twitter, like if I can find one, I'm going to quote tweet it so hard. Be like, you were wrong. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate what people are doing. Okay. So, but as you know, as we've talked about, like it's a long game. Like it's an hour a day. I like the idea of doing like an hour a day over and over and over and over. And don't get discouraged because a lot of people are not going to respond. Actually, the fact that that first person even got back to you is kind of awesome.
That's why I chalked it up as not a complete loss, because I got a reply, which means like it got through their spam filter. It resonated with them enough to actually read it, and it also was enough that they would respond to it. So that means that what I'm doing is at least working in a sense of it's reaching the people.
Yes.
Step one.
And the other thing I wanted to comment on this is a good salesperson will tell you to follow up until you die.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you have to do that, but basically all the advice, I've never been a professional salesperson, but all the advice I have worked with them and had them as mentors, you follow up until they tell you to go away. Now, I do think we have to like balance that with your brand. And one part of your brand is integrity, right? Like, so no one wants to get spammed by Joe. But I do think like a 3-day follow-up and a 7-day follow-up. And then in the 7-day follow-up, you could be like, hey, if I don't hear back from you, I'm just going to assume the timing's not right. Like I will not contact you again, in a very classy way. Is might be the right balance for you.
Yeah, I like that. I like having a rule for me that's like, okay, you follow up twice, and then after that you sever ties, because if it's just like keep following up, I that always makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I mean you're not a sales, like we don't want, you're not a sales guy, and your brand is really important, so you don't want to start getting marked as spam or people like, who is this jerk? So, but I think some kind of follow up, like think about what cold inbound that you've responded to. I never respond the first time. Maybe I'll respond the third time.
That's a good point.
So just something to think about as you go through that.
Yeah. Okay. Cold outreach. One more thing exciting on my end. I got my solo trip coming up next week.
I'm so
Monday
jealous.
through Wednesday. I'm doing 2 nights in a kind of co-working Airbnb, a co-working hotel in Portland, which I'm very excited about.
What does that mean?
It's a hotel And then they
Okay.
have a full floor of the hotel as a co-working space.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's like a coffee shop / co-working space for people that go to the hotel. I think you pay 20, 30 bucks a day or whatever to join. But if you're staying in the hotel, you can go for free. So I'm going to be working from there, which might mean I have a different background next time we record for those on video. Or I'm going to be locked in one of those cubicles with a terrible background.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Who designs those?
Someone who's space saving and never actually wants to work in one ever. But maybe next week we'll talk a little bit about a secret side project that I'm working on, which has been so much fun and something that I'm very excited about. But it's not ready to talk about yet, so that'll be a next week thing or the following week.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end on
that's all
that
from me.
teaser.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a great week.
Thanks for listening, everyone. You can find us at nopermission.fm. Our email addresses are on there if you want to send some notes on the show. And we will catch you next week. See you, Colleen.
Bye, everyone.